All right. Let's make sure we're recording properly here. All right, we're recording. All right. So we can take a look at this month's meeting. No, that's last month. Sorry. I just had it here, Sherry. You just sent it to me.
Yeah, go up right there, up above your name.
Oh, right above it. My bad. Okay. I got allergies. I can't see. Good excuse. Okay. Well, guess we'll just read through this. Paul's not here, but he said hi to everybody. He should be here. We approved the minutes from February already. Let's see. Mark's in the UK. Brian, do we have anything from you?
Nothing up. No update.
No updates. Okay. I should get to. Let me see if I can. Let me find out where it's at. Okay, where are you? Great. There we go. Hold on. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Okay, so nice. It's always nice to see all these green checks in there. Okay, just so you can see what we have in there. In the savings, we've got 100 grand, 571.94. That will, we'll probably have to start digging into that. Let's see here. Oh, great. Okay, Paul said there's an accident on I-4. He may never make it home tonight. All right. As far as our working capital, okay. Right. Okay. Our working capital. We got $10,897 in there. In QuickBooks, it shows a difference of 1,856 and 1,625. The difference is I have to re-journalize Oldsmar's registration fees. Okay, I still have to reconcile that and re-journalize it, and then that'll straighten out. What we have as far as working capital for the rest of the year, which will include Joan Judd and whatever else we pay for, we've got almost $81,000 in there. Okay, so we're not bleeding anything, and we should be okay. Let's see, which report do you usually run, Sherry?
I usually do the profit and loss, or excuse me, budget versus actuals, the one below it.
Budget versus actuals, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sorry, I couldn't. It's doing that goofy thing. It wouldn't let me log in again.
Okay. Let's see.
I would have posted this, but I couldn't.
This is from 7/1/2016 to. Yeah, well, that's good. That's the year.
That's fine. That's a whole
That's
year.
fine. It's not going to have anything in there that's not going to be in there.
Right, and then you can filter it so you just see the totals. Let me see. Where are you? Let's see. Custom report, period, custom. It might be on that middle section drop down right there. Yeah, I can't remember. No, it's not there. You have to go. I can't see the whole screen. So there's a place that you, customize up above, right by the green button.
Go to custom.
And then where it says
Filter?
Yeah. Or try rows and columns. One of them lets you just pick totals. Try the rows.
Okay.
Rows and columns. Yeah, right there on the drop down, accounts versus months, just change it there to totals, accounts versus total. And then
Gotcha.
you can, it's easier to read it.
Okay.
There's got to be a save button or something.
Run report.
Run report.
Yeah, I got the toolbar in the way.
Yeah. Just run report.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Well,
So total revenue.
we're obviously not over budget on forfeit fines. That's what we've taken in, though. Let's see.
So we took in a little bit more than was budgeted.
Budget is 0.
The budget should always be 0 for forfeiture fines. It should always be 0. And let's see, what did we budget here? We budgeted this, and we're at 53.6 already. I guess we're going to be a little over that by the end of the year due to all the rule changes and all the issues.
But our hours will, well, I know yours
Yeah.
is, but mine will significantly drop in April because
Right.
there's not
Right.
much going on. Yeah.
I don't know why we budgeted 1,000 for awards, because we should have budgeted 8,000, because that's what we did last year, or 5,000 from last year. But bank service charge, most of this stuff is, like I said, you can see where the money's going.
Yeah.
It's certainly not going for my boat payment or my RV payment, or anybody else's, because I don't have either. But I was working. If I had a job at FYSA, I sure would. It's funny. I was talking to that coach today, Kai from St. Louis, from the Bush Soccer Club, and he was on the state board and as a ODP head coach. And he says, you can't imagine all the misappropriations that went down in St. Louis.
Wow. Oh, man.
He says it was like you said, it was just so many people got their hand caught in the cookie jar that they had to redo everything, probably get rid of half of everybody.
That's what needs to happen here.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I would bet that that's not happening here. But does anybody have any questions with this here? It's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Okay. As far as what's here and what isn't here. Which other one do you run, Sherry?
That's usually the only one that
That's
Paul.
the one. Okay, it's the one. It's the only one that probably makes sense, right?
I mean, you can run the balance sheet, but
Balance sheet.
you know, you showed the totals already, but you
Right.
could run the balance sheet if someone wanted to see it.
Okay. Anybody else need to see anything as far as the budget or money goes? Going once, going twice.
That's the balance sheet.
The balance sheet?
Yep.
You want to see the balance sheet?
Just reports and then just go to the balance sheet again.
Okay, where is that?
Right there. Second.
Run.
Gotcha. Okay, 7-1 to here. Okay. Oh yeah, I know. I can remember this one. Okay.
It just shows your assets against your
Right.
liability.
That's the most important one.
Right.
Tells you if it's a business or not.
And we still got to figure out what that credit card business is.
It's just a journal entry or something that you have to make.
I'm sure,
Mhm.
but
We really don't have very many liabilities, really.
no. And just so everybody knows, now that we understand how this works. We have a double account there. The 80 and the 12 actually means we have $91,000 or $93,000 to work with. But what happens is I dump money into the one to pay. I only pay out of the 6716. Okay, no money ever goes into that account. It goes into 6431, and then we move it to 6716. So we have always, when we look at that account at the end of the year, or the accountant looks at it, they know everything that was in there is an expense, and they don't have to play around with it looking for stuff. You know, if it's not there, it's not an expense, or if it is there, it is. So, we okay with this, Brian and Alan and Kai?
Yes.
Yeah. Looks good.
Okay. All right, we're gonna get out of here. And I like the way I can move this stuff around. Yes. Okay. All right. That's old business, new business. I don't know. Do you guys know what Paul, what his topic was to talk about this month?
No.
He didn't. I asked him, but he didn't respond with anything.
Okay.
So I
Right.
assumed maybe his thing about the referee fees that he had sent out. That's the only thing I had.
You have that somewhere?
I put it in executive session.
Okay, good. Okay. Do we have any new business? Anybody have any new business?
No.
Okay.
No new business.
No new business. Well, we just run real efficient, don't we?
Run even more efficient. My grandbaby's visiting me, and she leaves in the morning. I gotta go.
Yes, there you go.
I gotta
I
go.
have some new business. I have some new business.
Oh, there you go.
No,
What's that?
Well, as some of you guys know, GCFL has a spring league. Have USA ever thought about having the same spring league? But there are teams that want to play year round and want to play in the off season, which would be spring and summer.
There you go, Mike. Tell Tony he needs to resurrect Fazel.
Yeah, take it from preseason to spring.
Yeah. Well, preseason to fall. I mean, spring to fall. There's nothing for spring to fall. Once the state cups and everything are over with.
I have 7 teams right now that are playing GCFL because they want action in the spring.
General, what is that? Greater
Central Florida League.
And you're in Winter Haven, so you're close to that.
Right. But how about USA trying to do something similar?
Well, what USA is looking at, though, is we're looking at either a Champions League format with GCFL and with Brevard and Jacksonville leagues, or composite all-star teams like we had this weekend, or like we had this morning, in certain age groups. So in other words, each league would put together 2 all-star teams, if you will, in 16 boys. And they would play twice a year in a weekend. So we would keep, let's say, the way I see it going is we pick a date in the fall before high school, like October 1st, that weekend. Nothing happens that weekend. Nobody can schedule games, any kind of thing for that weekend. It's wide open. And then we have another one in February, okay, or March, whatever. And same thing. That's blocked out. No makeup games, no nothing, okay. Those are kept for the select teams that are going to play from our league and against the other leagues. Whether it's at our place, whether it's at GCFL, whatever. I mean, at GCFL makes sense to play all the games there somewhere because it's centrally located. We only got an hour or so basically to get there, except for the team south. But and that's what we're looking at. Now, when do they play? They play like May through August.
They just started last week, so they
Started
played
last week.
March through end of May, beginning of.
Are they FYSA or US Club?
I think they're FYSA.
Really? That's pretty tough to do. That'd be really tough to do.
I'm not sure what they do, but they're not very organized. Put it that way.
No, they're not. No.
That's why
No.
I am bringing this up tonight, because I think, based on my experience at USA, we do a better job here.
It's not a bad idea, because what you could do is have a limited amount of games. Either it can be 8 games or whatever. But I understand what Les is saying. There is leagues out there that double dip in their season.
well, okay, but I mean, yes, but the problem is, I would
March
think
to the end of April, March to the beginning of May.
But you got to dance around. The problem is, I see logistically. I mean, you got to dance around the President's Cup, Commissioner's Cup.
Yeah.
We just
Yeah.
got those dates out for games. Right now, here's the problem I'm having. I have a guy call me at 11 o'clock on Saturday night trying to cancel a USA game, a GCFL game, because they're in Commissioner's Cup. So there was no planning ahead of schedule. So if we know Commissioner's Cup date, what they are, we just block out dates for those weekends.
I know that, but the problem is that FYSA sometimes provides us with those dates so late in the game that we even have issues even during the fall, during our regular season already,
Yes.
with the February dates.
But we already knew months ago what the Commissioner's Cup dates were before, and those guys knew too, but they made no plans for it.
Would that spring season end before
Teams
tryouts?
have to bid as to where the games are going to be played, so we know what the dates are.
Well, the tryout, until we find out from FYSA, but right now the new tryout format is 8 weeks long. So
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, that was a bad idea to begin with. So
Crazy.
Well,
maybe we can change that this year at the AGM.
well, it has to be changed because people voted for this without knowing the consequences of an 8-week tryout.
and keep in mind, Super White is also being played at the same time that you want to start this other league.
Yeah, but the people who are going to play in this league is not going to play in Super Y. So
this won't be a
there's
top
bunch of
flight
USA
division.
teams right now sitting around, want to play and can't play because they have nowhere to play. And tournaments are too expensive.
I'll buy that.
Oh, it's-
agree.
Yeah, the tournaments are getting crazy.
With $600, $700, $800 for a tournament versus $350 for a league, I'd rather play the league.
I wish everybody had your outlook on things.
Well, I
Seriously.
know for a fact I can get my club on board with that one. We're talking about 21 teams.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What would you say to like a Champions League thing format? That
would be good too.
Where we take let's say, I don't know. Let's put together. Let's just ballpark this. Snowball. If we have the 17s, 18, and 19 boys all lumped together now, right? Pretty much most of those teams are all meshed together. Well, you do have a 17, but the 18s and 19s are all meshed together. It wouldn't be that difficult to come up with 8 teams, okay, in that age group, and have them play and put them into 2 groups of 4, and have them play a knockdown and a semi and a final. There's 8 games, or there's 6 games right there. They play each other once, then you have a knockout, and then you have a final. So you're at
But
least
Greg,
yes.
Greg, if you do that, aren't you talking about just taking the top couple teams from each age group?
Well, we'd have to have at least 8 or 16. They have to be even numbers of that. We couldn't just take the top 4 teams and have them play, because
Right.
I'm sure what Les is saying is that he said he's got teams there, and if he's got 7 or 8 teams that are wanting to do this, there should be no reason why we can't put together, I don't know, 4 from ours. I see that's where this
That's more than 7 or 8 teams. If USA does it, there are teams in the club that just doesn't want to do the GCFL, but they'd rather do USA.
really. You're not talking about that guy out of Champions Gate, are you?
GCFL is new and, in my opinion, very disorganized.
Well,
I think maybe we could send out a survey.
They don't have regular monthly meetings. We don't know what goes on there. We don't know what the rules are. You find out everything is done on the fly.
hey, that sounds like the CDL.
Amen to that, man.
What I would say is this. I know I talked with those guys at the AGM last year. Paul and Mike both talked to him at length. Okay, I was just in a breakout session with them, and afterwards we had a drink and we're talking. But I can see where there's some frustration. They have tons of frustration over there for whatever reason. You know, they really couldn't put a finger on it, and you know, we just
It's called lack of experience.
But we can. Well, yeah, maybe that could be it too. I mean, you know, you take a look at our board. We got over probably 500 years of experience between us. We had them all together, but you know, we're reaching out to them, and maybe we can help them. Like I said, if we can standardize at least a format where we can, you know, get these teams in to play in a format, Champions format like that, or a weekend somewhere where we just, you know, we play. I think that would do well for everybody. Whether it's in this, like I said, whether it's in this, we do a spring and fall, or whether we just do a total spring.
I
know.
think what Les is,
Or guess what? We could keep it where, you know, we try to do it. All the teams in the county play against each other, and all, you know, the various counties. Maybe you can. That might be an easier way to do it.
yeah, I think Les, what you're getting at is USA doing their own thing and not combining with GCFL.
Right.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
You know, we could have a Polk County division of USA, an Orange County division of USA, a Pinellas County, whatever it is. Just keep the teams close together. They don't have to travel very far.
yeah.
Competition is still there.
I
Yeah.
like that.
And then at the end,
You take from Polk County, we have Lake Wales, we have Bartow, we have Arbondale, we have North Lakeland. Okay, I mean, there's enough teams in Polk County. We can incorporate Plant City with that. You could get 5-6 teams within that place, 2 games against each other, which makes it about a 10 weeks within the spring, and keep everything close together.
And then at the end, you play the champions from each county in a
Exactly.
round
That's it.
robin.
That
Yeah.
would work very well.
One of the things that we had talked about probably 5 or 6 years ago, and I'm not sure anybody even remembers it anymore. We used to have how many districts here? 6? C1 through C6? In Region C, we had 6 districts. And
Still do.
we still do. We don't address them that way anymore, but those of us still remember what they are. What we wanted to do was put an all-star team together between the clubs in each of those districts. So you take District 1, District 2, or District 1, and they put together 2 all-star teams. You know, C4, you put together 2 all-star teams. So you're going to get 36 kids involved, okay, in any one age group. And you know, realistically, those are the kids that want to play. You're going to 36. You're going to get fined if you get down to 40 or 50. Those kids will be missing for whatever reason. But out of the 36, you know, and it's in your district, so you don't have to travel to train. And then what we do is we come together 2 or 3 times, pick the dates, whether they're at we rent a field someplace, or we do it at IMG, or we do it who knows where. Okay. And, you know, we draw it out. C1 plays C2, C3 plays C4, C5 plays C6, and then you crisscross. But you would get 36 kids in each age group in each district. That's a lot of kids when you take a look at 6 districts. You know, that's close to 200 kids. It's 206 kids, 216 kids in each age group. That's a lot. And this way here, we have clear lines as to who, you know, we don't have players swapping out all over the place and going crazy. C1, these are the teams. C2, these are the teams. District 3, these are the teams. And you put a coach in there. If he poaches any kids, we kick his butt out, so there's no poaching, and go from there. I mean, it's just something to revisit.
I think that we have so much options that we could put in place.
We do, and
all the things that are being discussed here that could make this league so much bigger.
And I think it's just offering more to the kids. But again, once you get past the 36 kids in an age group, I think the interest starts to dwindle a little bit. You know, even today, as this wasn't really important, it was nice to be seen, nice to play on a beautiful pitch on a gorgeous morning, okay? But we still had 4 kids call off, or they didn't call. They just never showed. You know, they'll never make an all-star team again. You know, they don't even call. They just don't show up. So, you know, there's always going to be that, you know, you're always going to have those kids, but you shouldn't have those in the top 36. And if you don't think it, and if you think it doesn't work, Ohio ODP, that's what they do. That's how they pick their ODP teams. They have district ODPs, and they pull 36.
Greg, I think what you're saying makes sense, but if you're limited to all-stars and you pick 36 players, aren't you leaving out some kids that may not have been quite good enough to make an all-star team, but they still want to continue playing?
Exactly.
Well, I'll tell you what. No, I agree. You're absolutely right, Mike. No argument there. And I wouldn't call it an all-star team. I would call it a district team. However, yeah, if you want to use all-star or composite team or whatever you want to call it, I think you'll be hard pressed to find 36 kids though.
Well, I think we need to just we need to have a separate, like a spring league, because when you go now, I'm just looking at it as just in Polk County. It'll be like Congress passing the Obamacare to pick a coach. I mean, you got so many different coaches that want to coach it. You just can't limit it to that. I think what you should do is just have what they got over there, a spring league. A spring league, teams go there. It's more revenue for USA League. It's a whole different thing, but scaled down. Have probably 8 games. You know, a limited schedule.
And then if you want to have an all-star at the end of the season,
At the end, yes.
you pick the winner, the winning coach, and the runner-up coach be the all-star coaches.
There you. I agree. I agree.
Are you
like
referring
the NBA? You know what I mean?
right?
There are 2 coaches based on their position in the league. They become the all-star coaches, and then you can draft from that.
I know a team that's in second place, and I wouldn't.
Well, I mean, I think it's something that we should look into because what's happening is you can look around at the tournaments as of now. Tournaments now at the end are begging teams for free to fill brackets.
Exactly.
Teams. I mean, the thing about it, what you're doing is you only got a few that are really everybody wants to go to, but there's so many tournaments. A lot of teams are optioning out. I mean, it's just too expensive.
Not only is it expensive, the competition is no good.
Well, would we?
Some of them were.
Well,
Greg,
let me back up there. In some of these tournaments that you see not happening, the competition is not there. You're Orlando City, you find good competition. In Florida Flames, you find good competition.
Right.
Leaders Cup, but
Disney.
Then outside of that, and there's not a lot of competition there.
What if we do what we did quite a few years ago and had a knockdown type format where let's take the 16 boys. In each group there's 6 teams, 8 teams. Let's say we find out who wants to get in it. And if we've got 8 teams, we rank them 1 through 8, and 1 plays 8, 2 plays 7. You know, we do that kind of thing till we get down to 4, so everybody gets at least 2 extra games, 3 extra games in. Then we get down to the 4 teams where they can play and then play for a final. The winner would play 6 games. Everybody else would play 3.
All in the spring?
In the spring. All in the spring.
Okay.
It's a possibility. It's just another way of looking at it.
Okay, Greg, quick question here. Would we have to vote on this at the May AGM?
Yes.
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 Yeah.
So basically what has to happen is, and Sherry has the timeline, we may want to put that out, Sherry, on the website, what the final date is to get the proposals in to be voted on for the AGM. So unless if you got something like that.
It's 20 days before the AGM, but yeah, I usually do post it as
Yeah,
well.
publish it. So like Les has got an idea here. He wants to see something happen. Maybe Mike wants to get medals for Division II and Division III. It's something that, just it's a bylaw change,
I'm
whatever.
telling you guys, if you guys create a spring league, this could be big, okay?
Well, Tom, I mean, we could, but somebody has to propose the spring league at the AGM.
Then I will be the one to propose that.
Okay.
Yay!
All right. Les, keep in mind, Les, it won't happen this year.
Huh?
It
Well, I
won't happen
understand
this year.
but I'm talking about next season.
Next
Yes.
year. Next
you.
year.
Thank you very much. No, seriously.
I have to say that USA is much more organized than all the other people that come along and want to do soccer. It's a nightmare, and I have to deal with it every day. Right, Alan?
Yes, sir.
Well,
Yes.
we'll be, like I said, I don't, the only issue I see with that is tryouts, vacation, and graduation.
If you do it, if you start in March, you end by the first week of May.
Well, the thing, what Les is doing too is it's not for every team. It's not for everybody. But if you commit and you know as a team you're going into the spring league, then I think you get. I think it would work, but it's not for maybe every team that's not committed. I mean,
Well, right. I'd hate to see.
And I think it would work very well doing it county by county.
Yeah.
And that'll be fine. I just hate to see 3 Division III teams go in with 5 Division I teams.
Well, guess what? I wouldn't worry about that. I was at Brandon today, and guess what? The team out of the semifinals is a Division III team, West Florida Flames. Okay?
No
so
kidding.
I wouldn't discount Division III teams because these rankings that I look at means nothing. They play on the field. Okay? And West Florida Flames showed today I'm a Division III team who finished third, but they're in the semifinal in the championship series.
In the Commissioner's Cup?
The Commissioner's Cup, pardon me. Yep.
Okay.
So those things I don't pay attention to.
Yeah.
My experience last year, I had a team that I beat 5 times, and guess who won the Commissioner's Cup division? That team.
Well,
Yeah.
I didn't even make it to the next round. So it's all played on the field.
keep in mind, we have one major issue.
Yep.
Referees. That's going to be a big hurdle. So that's something, that's something we're going to have to propose to the assigner and the referees.
It's called marketing. I have more courses, sign up more kids. I have 6 kids right now at my club who want to be referees.
Outstanding.
We just have to do more marketing, sign up more, and get more courses going, and get kids signed up.
That's fantastic. All right. Thank you, Les. That's something we're definitely gonna.
That's why I'm here tonight to give my input.
Good. All right. We're still, as far as, okay, that was new business. For the good of the game, like I said, by March 21st, we'll have all that together.
Hey, Greg, this is Charlie. Can you hear me?
Yes, Charlie, what can I do for you?
I wasn't around at the beginning of, or the last year when all the age groups were being put together, but I believe I'm right that in the 2002 age group, which is under 15, there are kids who are in 8th grade and kids who are in 9th grade. So when the season started, the high school season started, the 8th grade kids couldn't play any longer because they were on U15 teams. Am I right about that before we go any further?
Yep.
Yes.
I believe so.
Would it be possible for the league to put together a U15 group that was 8th graders?
We talked about it.
And I wasn't in on those conversations. So if you've been through that, then you don't need to rehash it again.
Well, no, we just didn't know what the logistics and what the whole shape of that would look like. Most of that stems from the fact that Hillsborough County has no JV team when school comes around. There is no junior varsity team, except for the private schools.
Same in Pinellas.
But in Pasco County, they have JV teams.
Right.
Okay, so it becomes an issue with Pasco teams. For Hillsborough and for Pinellas, it's really not an issue. And I'm sure they would love to have a division like that where they could still play and not have to take a break. So Okay, we're going to revisit freshmen not playing varsity or JV.
Or
It's
Charlie's asking about eighth graders.
Eighth
What's
graders. Eighth graders.
Eighth graders.
One of the questions that came up last time we started that is you have kids that say don't make the team. Do you allow them to play even though they're a ninth grader? I know we went back and forth on this a couple of times, I think.
Don't we have a team doing that, playing in both ages? Gary? Wasn't that an issue with one of the teams?
But with our rules, though, you were able to schedule like our 15 boys and 15 girls played all season through. They just rescheduled their games and worked with the other.
I thought there was a team or two that was playing was 14s, okay? And then when the junior season came, they weren't going to be playing high school, and they were still going to play. They still wanted to play 15s or whatever they could play in the fall season.
I thought that was last year. I thought there was a U14 girls team played the U14 season as well.
All right, we'll have to. We'll revisit that. I have this on here. And you're talking specifically for when high school starts.
I'm talking about the eighth graders that are forced onto U15 teams because they were born in that year.
Right.
But they don't have any soccer. Their soccer starts the middle of August, ends the middle of October, and then comes up again early part of February. So I'm talking about the eighth graders actually having a team that they play on that would play in the winter instead of in the
Well, I mean,
They would have to do double duty then because they would still be playing the second half of the 15 season.
they just drop down and play for a U14 team during that time.
Yeah, and
No, they can't. They can't. They can't.
they can't play
Guys,
for
real
two.
quick.
They can't play for two teams in one day.
Well, not one day, but when the high school season kick in, those kids sit around and don't play in the game because they played for an older team early. So those kids are sitting out from October 15 till the junior season is over.
But they're still considered U15, so they can't play with U14 teams.
Yeah,
Their birthday.
Yeah, but you can play.
No.
But there's some play. But the reason why they're considered U15 is because they're playing 1 year or 2 years up, not because they are of the age. Like I have 3 kids on my team who are 04 players that are playing U14, and next year there'll be 04 players you playing U15.
I know you can't play in different divisions. Like you can't, like a Division 3 player can't play in a Division or a Division 1 player.
If you're playing up, you can guest play down into your age group.
Exactly.
That is okay.
And so that's what you would have to look at to make that work.
But we would have to change.
Charlie is saying specifically for 2002, they're playing in their proper age group. They're just a year behind in school.
Right.
Okay,
Well-
but why doesn't the coach? I mean, this is what we did at my club. We don't play all the games from August to October because you are able to stretch the season until March 31st. So instead of playing double headers, you take a Sunday game and you move it to a different weekend, and then create a 14-game season that stretches from August to January. It's up to you working with the other coach.
What
What
happened from
coaches in the league?
October to
But that still doesn't help that gap during the high school season.
yeah, what happened from October to February? Those kids sit around and play nothing. They do nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, but let me ask you this. I mean, okay, well, we got 52 clubs within the league. How do and the league and throughout the 52 clubs, and let's see the teams that are U15 age appropriate, they all have the same issues of having 8th graders and 9th graders on the team. How will we filter through all the teams to figure out how which teams can play in what divisions and when?
If they allowed, basically, I think the easy way is to allow these players that are not that are the ninth graders to play for whatever team they want to play for at that age level.
But
Okay.
we can't
Problem
do
is
that.
it's
They're
I know.
U15 age appropriate, though. We can't drop them down to U14.
Yeah, they
Well,
can't. Now, if their birth dates are.
Before you're a true U14 player
Yeah.
versus a 03 who's a U15 player next year, for example.
If their 14's playing up, what you have to do is we have to change the bylaws to allow X amount of guest players for this purpose only.
No, we're forgetting. We keep saying U14, U15. It's the birth date.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
If a girl is in 8th grade but she cannot play U14, she's got to play on the U15s. She cannot play during high school ball on the U14.
What we talked about last year was creating a small league that would go on, or a small set of games that would go on during the high school season. It would
Right.
still be a 2002 age group team, but it would allow for those players that either didn't make the team, or because of the new birth year, they were still an 8th grader, not a 9th grader. I remember us talking about that.
They can, Alan. They can play. They can drop that. They can drop the girl off the team.
Well,
And
first
retire.
No. Wait a minute. Hey, let's say let's say my girls. Let's say 2000. If you're born in the year 2000, you cannot play on the 2001 team.
No.
Oh no.
So if you're an 8th grader, and
Agreed.
let's just say they were born in year 2000, and the U14 is 2001, she can't dip down.
No, what we talked about doing was, so for this year, it's the year 2002.
Right.
We were going to take a 2002 age group and say, okay, as of October or November, end of October, we were going to have a 2002 league, or a 2002 age bracket that still includes the 8th graders. So it wasn't going to play down on a different, it was actually creating a
There you go.
set of games.
Yeah.
And we went back and forth, and it just seemed logistically, I mean, I'm not saying it couldn't be done, but I know we bantered about it back and forth quite a bit.
Well, I realize everybody here understands the legalities about guest players and secondary registered players and club pass players and all this kind of stuff. But I think what happened with the problem we have with about 4 or 5 clubs is that they don't understand that, and they can't even get through a league game without having some sort of, impropriety because of the kids, how they have them signed up.
Well, what you would have to do is that 8th grader or 9th grader, their team they play in August, it's going to be expensive, but they would have to drop that player, and the new team would pick them up, and as soon as that other team gets back, they're
Right.
released from that other one. So it's going to be expensive, but
That's what I said. That's what I was referring. That's what I was referring to.
Yeah.
what you do is the 8th grade player register with the lower team and guest play for the higher team.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. But if you've got 6 or 7 players like that, you can't do that.
That's true.
Because
You can.
You're only allowed 3 guest players. So,
And you allow your guest play
Pass.
2 different teams.
but what you have to, it doesn't make a difference. What you have to do is somebody has to bring that up to vote on for a bylaw change and say, we will allow 6 or 7 6 or 7 club pass players only
For 8th graders.
for 8th graders, right? That way there, we don't have any,
Is there a limit to club pass players?
yeah,
Only
3.
Free.
Okay.
3, right now there is. Okay? But again, we could say 6 or 7. That's our deal. That's not FYSA.
Right.
We're making that rule. So, sorry?
Yeah, that might be the best idea.
And then but we make it, you're right, Les, we make it for 8th graders only.
Only.
And keep in mind, there will have to be a way to police that because the referee will not know. when the referee comes to the field, he doesn't know who's who.
And
So-
we make some note that anyone born whatever year has to show proof that they are 8th graded, report card or something. Got to come up with some way of proving it.
No problem. Like I said, that's a bylaw change. That's a simple bylaw change. Okay. 8th grade issue. All right, I've got this down. Anything else for the main part of the meeting here? I'm not Sherry. Are you still here? Okay. All right. We got a motion to adjourn.
Here.
Start,
Second. Second.
Okay, 8:07. And Paul's still not here. Okay.
Stuck in traffic.
If he's an I-4, he's in trouble. Because I had a struggle getting from Brandon back home today.
I think he's out in Polk. He's out by you somewhere. He's got a factory out there someplace off of the Polk Highway. So, you saw do you want me to pull that back up?
Greg, I may have to excuse myself. I have a,
All right, I'll have to get Got Soccer up then. What I want to know is, first off, before I do that, okay, 2 or 4 games confirmed prosecutors.
you know what, those two you can just remove because Merritt did respond to me.
Okay, we're okay with those?
Yeah, it was just one player. I'm sorry. It was just one player that I had a question about, and he answered the question.
All right, okay. So, all right, thank you, Sherry.
Okay.
All right, we approved the other ones, and I went through I didn't go through any of these, but this was the, hold on, 809. These are the minutes from the executive portion last week or last month. Okay. I hope everybody can still see my screen. These were basically the February minutes here, and all the game reports and suspensions and fines and everything that was added to it. So as I scroll down through here, if something doesn't seem right or it's a miss, please please come forward. You won't be shocked.
I haven't gotten up to speed on my speed reading drill, but anyway.
You went to the Evelyn Woodhead reading
Go back up a
course.
little bit, Greg.
Sorry.
You go back up a little bit.
Sure. Oh, the one with you guys?
Yeah, I saw something there.
Yeah, that was the one.
Right there.
Where was it?
All
Right there.
I
Right
see it.
there. Yep.
Is that the Brooksville one?
No, the Rowdies.
Oh, right. Oh, this one right here. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Was that 18 girls?
To be honest with you, I don't know who that was.
Okay.
To be honest with you, but I know Les was taking care of that, right, Les? Or Charlie? Who's the
Eddie.
Eddie? He's North Lakeland.
Yes, that one we had a discussion internally with our board members, and the league is going to pay that fine.
Okay. Keep in mind that should have been paid. If you're still playing games, that should have been paid already.
We're not. They are done.
Okay. That will stay with you though for next year though. Keep that in mind. So please get that in so I can close the books and I can have a decent summer without having to worry about reconciling money. I see this stuff in my sleep. Let's see here. What else we got? All those forfeits should be reflected in the standings. And from a, we'll talk about that in a minute. We'll get to this stuff here. Like you said, this is the stuff we talked about, tabling and whatnot. So we have a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion.
Second.
All right, let's get out of this and let's get to this.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey, there he is.
Hey!
You're just in time. You're just in time for the executive portion.
Very good. Very good.
And you
Good.
should have it up in front of you.
I do. I do.
Good.
And you see, I can see you, Greg, and I see the minute here, so I guess I'm good. I'm on.
Everything. Yeah, the software's working fine, and so's the operator.
Very good. Very good. I think we have a quorum doing. It looks like we got Kai, Alan,
Yes.
Brian.
Brian and yourself, you sure do.
All right, good. All right, let's take a look. Approval of minutes. So we got someone want to make a
We
motion?
just did that before you popped in. We just did that before you popped in.
Okay, good. All right, great.
So
All right, tryout changes. Are we there?
that's where we're at.
All right. I think Kai, are you on?
Yep.
I think Kai's got the most, he's really been pounding away at this thing. But I'll tell you something. Everybody that's out there, and Kai will certify this, we can start on April. This is the most confusing set of instructions you'll ever find. Well, not that FISA hasn't had confusing ones before. We can start, and everybody can have open tryouts. That is advertised. You don't have to a kid doesn't have to get permission to go to your tryout on April 1st if it's advertised in some way, shape, or form that you can justify. However, the club that they are with, if they're not from your club, the club that they are with does not have to and is not obligated to release them if they should make your team. And they don't have to release them till either, I think, the last round of the state cup is played, or is there an alternative?
Well, we're still waiting for clarification of how this is going to work. As the rules read now, we're waiting for the conference calls to start to get clarification if there's any changes, because I know they're receiving several phone calls. So April 1st, everybody's able to start tryouts, except for here is the problems to go with it. So we don't know the actual end of seasonal date yet, which could be late May or June 10th, getting clarification on that. So tryouts can start April 1st as long as you advertise them. They can run, depending on what clarification we get, they can run from April 1st to June 10th.
Holy mackerel.
And the thing is that players are still bound to their club, and the clubs do not have to release them. So players can go try out as many times as they want. They can sign as many agreements as they want, and they can get out of the agreements, because under the rule, by a certain date, you can keep changing your mind. So if you have tryouts April 2nd, you sign a player, and 2 weeks later that player tells you, no, I don't want to be with you anymore. That does no longer is valid, that agreement. So the player, so you can sign a player, but they don't really become yours until June 10th. Okay.
Sounds like the Clippers Maverick deal.
It is pretty much a Wild West. So pretty much the way I look at it, the first 7 weeks are like window shopping for players. The last week of it is where it really matters, because the player-parent contract actually becomes valid the last week, like normal tryouts would. So it is a complete nonsense and a mess that membership unfortunately voted for, because they thought they were sticking it to the big clubs. They didn't realize that the FY said that the rule, you were just changing the date, but you didn't change any of the other bylaws that are still in effect.
April
The
1st
date,
date.
but everything else stayed the same. So you cannot. So you can have tryouts. April 1st really doesn't matter. But here's the crazy thing: you can play in President's Cup or State Cup or any tournament on a Saturday like April 10th. You show up to your practice, let's say Tuesday, April 5th. You got 4 players missing because you're trying out somewhere else, and it's perfectly okay.
Well, I thought the April 1st date was a compromise because they were talking about January. That was the initial proposal, was about starting after January.
Well, either way, it's stupid because you can't
And that's why I
find
think
the
most
players.
people went
The
for
player's not
April
yours.
because of the compromise. But it didn't
No,
make
it's
sense
a
at all.
done deal. It's a
It-
done deal. And Kai, I would just say that information he just talked about being able to leave a club after signing. I mean, this is something that's been on for years, but it's been a much shorter timeline. And
Well,
I would
that's the thing.
recommend
Yeah,
all
shorter
you guys-
time.
That's correct.
But I would recommend all you guys not to share that information with anybody, because the less people that know that, the less problems we're all going to have from people doing that sort of thing.
Except through that the teams.
Yeah, but it's gonna. It's gonna be
teams
out
that,
there.
the teams that want to stack eight teams deep are going to be telling those kids, you don't have to worry about that. You can still come here and be on our 4th team and still make the MLS All-Star team. They're basically going to use it to lie to them and they're telling them the truth there that, hey, you don't have to worry
Hey,
about
Kai.
anything that you make.
Yeah.
Kai, with this rule change, have you seen one club schedule tryouts yet on their website? I have not.
I
you?
have. Dunedin has advertised tryouts for a whole week because I think they might be under the impression that it's just a 1-week tryout.
No, we have done
in
ours.
April, starting April 1st?
Yeah, we have done ours for April 1st, but we're going to do another one likely in May, like the traditional schedule.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
I
going to be
think, hey, Drew,
the first week.
it seems like most people, I mean, to the guys that are on, that it's April 1st is a defensive maneuver that if you don't do it, at least for your own kids,
Right.
that you not that they, all want to split, but I mean, if you even went back to your own teams and said, listen, we're trying out, and you guys, we like the team we have, we like the players we have, we might try for a few spots, but if you don't do it, not that you have to, but if you don't, you are going to be susceptible to those kids feeling potentially nervous about what's going to happen next year, and they better find a team. That was
But let's say, how about this? Okay, let's say you want to go and it still doesn't make any sense to have tryouts on April 1st, because what about the kids that you're not going to commit to?
Yeah.
Right.
For 7 weeks, they're going to be on your team.
What?
But the Chargers have posted some on their website. It was interesting that if you go to it, that they said they will probably not have tryouts the first early April.
What were you referring? What were you referring to?
Tryouts.
What?
Go ahead. What was that, Drew?
Oh, I didn't say anything. Sorry.
Can't you have multiple tryouts?
Well, first of
You
all,
can have as many tryouts as you want, as long as you can just put. Listen, what they wrote back to me from FYSA, if I put on my website, I have tryouts from April 1st to June 10th. PC United tryouts from April 1st to June 10th for U8 boys through U19 boys and girls. For more information, call the director. That is sufficient to have tryouts as long as you want from April 1st to June 10th. I got that in writing. That is all you need on your website. Nothing more.
Well, the other thing is, Kai found out that you can list one other idea that I think Kai floated to me at one point. I don't know if he's going to do it. Is you can list the practice dates for certain teams that are practicing. In other words, you're inviting someone to come out to the practice, basically.
Right.
And
Your
try
team's
out for
practice
your team.
schedule for 7
Right.
weeks. Your team's practice schedule for the next 7 weeks is your tryout schedule, pretty much.
There you go.
What were you referring?
But it's all we're all stuck with the same, and we'll get to this one, but at least the board of directors when we go talk about the bylaw review about the attorney. But I mean, this has been a constant drip for the last 3 years with the organization that we are affiliated with not having any concept or idea of what's going on out here, or they do, and they're basically trying to put all you guys, all the community type clubs out of business by forcing, by having these ridiculous back and forth things where you can't tell anybody anything. The big guys don't care. They really do not care to listen to FYSA, and they don't feel like they're beholden to them either. Even technically are.
Hey,
they just don't.
Hey, Kai.
Yeah.
What's the ruling for approaching players or making contact with players outside your club?
You may not make contact with players outside a club until after state cup. If they come to your tryouts,
They come to your open tryouts.
if they come to your tryout that's advertised, you can talk to them.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't
If you
talk
happen to want to have a tryout at their fields on the afternoon that you want to talk to them, I probably believe.
I'm not talking to you, but our tryout dates are come to the tryout.
No, you tell them, listen, we're trying out in the next 20 minutes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you just carry a flyer with you
Yeah.
and say you're having tryouts for your club anywhere in the state of Florida. So when you're talking to a player, just hand them a flyer and you're okay.
Kai, what were you referring to when you said the club that they're with, they can hold it, they can't let them go? What were you talking about?
Okay, after December 1st, it's a rule from FYSA. If a player requests a release after December 1st, the club does not have to release the player. They can hold on to the player if they want to until the end of the seasonal year.
In the end of the season of the year, you understand FYSA releases everybody.
Yeah, that is June 10th. So that's why I'm trying to get
They
clarity.
release everybody at that point.
When did that go in? Did that go in this past year?
No, that was always in there.
No, that's always been. But the point is, we know the environment we're in. This is not it's just more insane. But we know it's not a surprise. The environment we have been in for the last 5 years is that basically some large organizations do not recognize any rules or any logic or anything else. It's their needs for income, revenue, are what they are, and that's the way it's going to be. And they don't make any bones about it. We shouldn't either. None of our members should either, even though we got some of those guys are members. But I mean, the fact is that you're still out and finding a way to continue to service and teach the game, hopefully without telling, without creating this aspirational lie that's, that's out there that if you don't come here, fill in the blank. If you don't pay me my 35 or 4,000 or whatever, I think we just saw some clubs in the area were $2 million revenues. I think it was just out in the latest pieces of information that came out, the 990. So we know that 2 or 3 of them are in the 1.5 million, 2 million. These are businesses, and there's no doubt about it. So that's okay. I mean, that's what we live with. FYSA knows that and doesn't seem to be able to deal with the thought of what that means to all of us. But we have to, and I think that this thing that Kai's saying, Kai, I think we should get something onto the website, don't you guys? And at least this cogent explanation about what you can and can't do.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be better than the FYSA is going to put a.
We're just not sure they're going to have
information.
some meetings. Right. And
They're going to put information explaining all the rules on their website and email it to everybody. So, it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be a mess.
They're probably going to do that in July, though, right?
Yeah, probably. They're supposed to have the conference calls ready last week.
It's a very cynical view. We'll get that. We'll get that on July 15th.
Just like how they rolled out all the changes last year.
Yeah.
After the tryouts.
Yeah. They stand by. We'll tell you in about 3 months what we're doing and how your teams can be constituted. which hurt us. I mean, it was more, we look like bigger fools than we normally do. Anything else on tryouts? I think as soon as we know something that we need to get it on the website for all you guys to so pay attention and keep an eye on that. And Will Kai's been really involved in it. I think he's going to get in on these conference calls, aren't you, Kai? And didn't they?
Yep. Whenever they'll have them. Yeah.
The more interesting thing is for all us guys, all us guys here, is that all this happens. Now, I'm not saying they got to call me, they got to call you, or they got to call Kai, but we've got a few hundred teams. I mean, we've got a few clubs. We're probably not the largest playing coalition there ever was, but we're fairly large. We've never been asked even that. What do you guys think about this? So that starts it off that they don't consider any of us as really, meaning anything as far as their information. This is all a top-down, insider type of deal all the time with them, and that's what it's going to be.
We use explosives to shake.
And that's really what you're dealing with. And if you think it's any different, don't, because it's I do not believe they're tuned in at all to anything that's really going on out here and the issues that we've got. So we've got to kind of, when I say protect ourselves, we got to know exactly what we can and can't do, and we'll get that on there. As soon as we have good information, we'll put it on a website, or we'll put on a website what we do know, so you guys have the latest up-to-date information. It still is not right now. You should know today what you're doing, because you got to put something out for April tryouts, right? We're right around the corner.
Yep.
I mean, I would suggest personally that the least you do is to go back to your present teams and explain to them, where you're at and what you're doing, and then that they, if you want them back, and in other words, say we would like the composition of this team, and we're committing to you now if you want to. If that's what you want to do.
And 7 weeks later, you can still cut two players.
7 weeks later, 7 weeks later, you get what you
thanks for playing.
You get higher revenue kids or better players, and get rid of those knockers. Say that you guys aren't just that. We found better players. Goodbye.
That will happen. You know that. That's going to happen.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm telling you, it's if this organization, if we were Leon, this would be pedophilia. I mean, it's really screwing kids just royally all the time. But hey, we know that this is not a surprise. It just is more. It's like every day the beating continues. And say it's like the thing they said. The beatings will continue until the morale improves.
Yeah.
So we take our beating. I mean, we're trying to put the gloves on and swing back a little bit anyway. How about so that's the tryout thing. Do you guys agree with the board? And we should get, as soon as we get some good information, we should get it onto our site to get some information for our guys so they know what they can do. We probably should even get this put together this week and at least tell them what we know to this point about April 1st and
yes,
if you advertise and what an advertisement probably is considered to be, and who you can talk to, and the fact that right now you do not have to, nor does anybody else have to release their kids until the FYSA drops them all in April.
There you go, Kai.
Tries to change that, so
people will be coming to us instead of going to Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
That's we're good. That's very good. Well, hopefully the guys from Georgia will come down and explain it all again to us.
Exactly.
And Mike won't be there.
Yeah, no. What's the difference? Is there a difference?
No.
Okay, so.
No.
All right, continued discussion on referees' fee increase proposal. I floated something last week or so, and I got a couple of feedbacks, which is good, saying, well, I don't think those changes are good, but these are. As I said in the return, if you guys didn't get it, this is a board decision. It's not mine. Those numbers were just a shot to start the conversation. But I do think personally, I think that this is probably the start of what has to happen for us to start to get some friction for some people to stay in the referee profession. And my great friend Mario always said, if you pay them more, they're no better. And that was his answer. That why pay them more? Because they ain't going to be any better, be the same people. And even though I agree, at least in the first year, that may be the case, I think that when there is a number out there that people that really do like to ref and are good at it will think that the abuse that they take every week is worth it at some level and some number. And my goal is to find that number to make them indifferent between coming out there and getting abused and reffing.
Well,
we're losing most of our guys, I do think, because of the amount of negative feedback they get from everywhere, both the sidelines,
sure,
and the coach's side, and we can't stop that. In fact, if you guys you guys all been to the FYSA the last 2 AGMs, things apparently gotten so bad down in South Florida, and it's not funny. I don't even know why I'm laughing. That they've had 2 different proposals, one crazier than the other. But I mean, things are so bad. The first proposal they came up with, if you guys remember, was that if the parents are acting like animals on the sideline, the kid gets taken out of the game, gets red carded out of the game, or gets removed from the game. Well, when everyone started, that was 2 years ago. That didn't pass because someone figured out that how do we know it's their parent? We're going to have a saliva test right there to prove genetics. You'd have to start asking people for their licenses. Or if I want to get rid of a kid, I start screaming and saying, that's my kid, the referee's an asshole, and he's not a parent. He's not a parent, and then the kid thrown out of the game. The proposal came back. So obviously there were about 20 problems with that. The second thing that those guys came up with last year was they could take the parents and ban them from the next game if they were bad. And of course there were 20 reasons again why that didn't make sense, because it might be one guy that nobody knows and whatever. But the fact is that things have gotten so bad, that's what these guys are willing to start doing to prevent the acting out that must be going on. Now, we get it too. I mean, we're not immune to it. It just doesn't seem like we're at that level. But to go back to the referees, at some point it does affect these people. And at some point, we've got to find a wage or a number that people can take the leg of the game and take the abuse, so that it's worth their time to go out there. And I'm not saying it's nobody likes, I don't think, Merritt if he's on, and I know Mario Martinez, who was a big time referee and a great guy, good ref. Both say the same thing. They don't like it because they don't think the guys are any better. But my point is, if we start increasing the fees now, it's a small amount of money. And when you add it up, it's 7 games times $40. It's $280 for 7 games. If you divide that by the amount of children that are on a team and the amount of games they get, it's a small amount of money compared to the millions of dollars we're spending on everything else. And it seems like if we don't start doing something about it, I don't know, this isn't a solution. I think we're getting to a solution. It's just starting to move up to let people know that if you want a game with referees, this is the cost of it. Relative to everything else, it's modest. But I think we've got to get it. And my point would be, I would double what I said if I thought it would change the problems we're having with referees.
Paul.
Yes.
Can I ask you? I want to ask a question of Greg. Your preseason, I think you did these video conferences stuff.
Yeah.
How did that work out, or what did you do? How do you do that?
The first two I had over 100,
Okay.
and after that, bupkis.
Were they assistant referees or referees?
It was a smattering of both. Mostly kids.
I was going to say kids probably did it. Okay. Paul, thank you, Greg. Paul, I think we need to, of course, impose upon our assigners is to, mandate that these guys attend these video conferences and we actually take roll and who's showing up and who's not and who should be on and who's not and make available. Greg, I'm not sure how many you made available, 2 or 3 or 4.
Yeah, but we also now we've expanded the software where we can get over 100. I think it was 150. We get 150 now, 200.
Oh, that's excellent. That's very good. Well, and what I would say for USA League, since I'm on this board, is we can actually send out a blast email to all the referees in our area advising them of the new rate base, Paul, and when you get more numbers, our new rate fees, let them know, and then obviously then you're telling the whole world, and then
that's okay though.
Huh?
What do you think about the numbers, man? You think
Well,
they're fair?
you're at the 60-40-40, you're paying what they paid the adults at the adult league, and those guys would rather come out and do a youth game than they would an adult game. I can tell you that.
Well. So you said you think they're not overbearing as far as money for our members.
I'm not what now?
Well, we just say it's not ridiculous for our members, because don't forget, we're talking, and we're all in different clubs and have all in different, so we're rating clubs, but this is going to go down if we vote on it. If it goes in, this is going to be a choice any club has. That's what the USA refs are going to cost. And
well, I think the numbers you threw out was for the upper division.
I know I changed them all, Merritt.
For what now? I'm sorry.
I changed them all down to 9s and 10s even, because 9s and 10s, I think we're gonna go to some. We're gonna potentially go to a more descriptive answer to the game instead of just two guys getting together to play 9s and 10s.
9s and 10s are the hardest refs to get.
Yeah, but I think you need to adjust. You definitely need to adjust it by age group. There's no doubt.
Yeah, well, the one I sent out, every age group was higher. I think that, don't forget, there's still one ref on 9s and 10s. Now that may be something we need to take over we may start to need to assign that. But I think it was $50, was it not, Greg, what I suggested?
Yeah, I'm trying to find that email. Let me see what the email is. Hold on. I should have it here somewhere.
Hey, Paul, quick question.
I'll go out and do 9s and 10s for $50.
That's the point.
I'll become a ref.
That's the point, Merritt. That's exactly the point, though. Instead of having, now I know kids got to start somewhere, but the fact is that that's not much of an increase per kid per season.
All right.
Yet, somebody's going to say, I'll stay around for the 9s and 10s because so we'll have a guy that is interested, or better be, or hope is, and we'll get some better balance in some of those games rather than throwing out your 12-year-old kid that really wants to try it. And nothing wrong with a 12-year-old kid. Some of them are very good.
What I find out is that with the younger age groups, the younger referees are now more cognizant of heading, build outline, offsides. Okay, but
the biggest problem is that when the parents hammer a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old, they seem to have more of a problem fighting that off, or at least controlling it.
Although the younger referees are getting the new law, the new changes in the laws, they're missing. The kids are taking they're slam dunking basketball to take throw-ins. They're jumping up in the air to run. They miss the simplest stuff, but they'll call the build-out line encroachment dead nuts straight on.
That's if someone even has a build-out line on their field.
Well, that's true. Half of them don't. The fees that you're looking at, Paul, that you sent were 9s and 10s are $50 each. They get 50. 11s and 12s, the center gets 50. The ARs get 25. 13 and 14, the centers get 60. ARs 30 each. And then 15 and up, the center gets 70. The ARs get 35.
So it's about a $30 on 10s to $40 for and $40, a $30 increase for 10s and $35 I think for the next two, and $40 per game now increase in the final thing. So that's what the numbers I threw out.
The $70 for a center is more than what they're paying in adult.
It's a suggestion. My
And
point.
if we don't have a game,
Well, in some cases, those 15, 16-year-old games, they're tougher than any adult game.
I agree. And if the games don't end in a slugfest, it's well worth the money.
Right.
Well, if the money, I mean, the argument you can make very simply with this, and I could argue it on the other side very easily, is initially you're not going to get a vast improvement in 1 year. But my point, I think, is that if we don't start to really concentrate on the problems, and one of them is, as an economist, I do know that once you pay more for something, you eventually will change the market. And
Hey, Paul.
yes, Alex.
Go ahead.
How much have we thought about fourth officials?
No, we haven't thought about them at all, Alex. Tell you the truth.
No.
Honestly, field marshals make a big difference at these games.
Yeah. A good one makes a. Well, Alex, by our bylaws, a home team is supposed to have an identifiable figure there that is the field marshal, and everybody should know they are.
I haven't seen that in my last 4 away games.
Yeah, I agree. But we got to stop that, Alex. In other words, those are the places. If you tell us with an email, we're not going to complain about it, but you come back and said, I didn't see any identifiable field marshal at such and such a field. You're not, I
was at Northport Saturday. There was no field marshal.
Okay, but I mean, that's what then Northport, one of the weakest parts of this league is we don't have the Northport guy here right with you. In other words, we don't know everybody, and it's my fault, but I don't have time to get there. We know more people than we ever did, but we still don't know everybody where we can pick a phone up. I mean, a good example was North Lakeland. It took us a couple weeks to find a guy. He's a great guy we found, and I'm glad we did. But we didn't know who even to talk to there to say, what's the problem?
I tell you honestly, Paul, during Giza Cup, through 10 of my younger players, or older, how you want to look at it, through the F course, our club actually paid for them, and the only agreement they had was the first 8 or 10 games I wanted them only to be at our field. And when we had Giza Cup, we went up and introduced the players. We talked to the parents and watched the players. We assigned a mentor to each of these, but we had these people sitting at the games and talking to the parents and explaining how much trouble we're having getting referees. And I mean, I know that
you would hope that other clubs would see that, Alex, and start to say, you know what, that's amazing, and that's a hell of a thing to do, because that's exactly what we need. It's the communication from the club to the parents to say, this is a real problem that's acting out, and we got to stop doing it. I know everybody gets the same feelings. You can't change them. I mean, I was a girls coach for years, and I was coaching under 9 girls, and someone would score, and I'd get this feeling, and I'd put them on the stomach, and it just start working its way up. It's how you deal with those feelings that makes you an adult, and that's our problem. But the referee thing is part of the fee thing. To get back to the thing is just a part of a start as a solution. We also said we will start paying USA, and I know we're working on it right now. We'll sponsor meetings, the referee classes. We'll pay for them. in certain places if kids will come. Even if we don't get them, we'll still pay for them.
Hey, Paul, I'll take that to the assigners meeting. And one of the things I'm going to suggest is that the referee does not start the game until he has an identifiable field marshal there.
Good idea if everyone does it. We know.
But I'm saying I'm going to take that to the assigners to get to the referees. So that
Hey,
there is no
Merritt,
issue.
is Merritt, are you still there?
Let's see. No, dropped off.
Yeah, I just don't know. I mean, we're going to have to vote. We don't have to vote tonight, but that's
Right.
those numbers are out there for you guys on the board, and mull it around. Again, I'm not telling anybody we got to do this. This board is fully capable. I mean, this is the strongest group of people we've ever had do anything, and more involved than anything we've ever done. So, you guys can make a good decision one way or the other. My only thinking is that's the start. That's one thing we have to do to start to change the referee situation. There's a lot of things, but that's the first one. Or not the first one, but that's one of them. And I wanted to get out there first so we weren't doing this next month or the month after. We really probably do this at the AGM. All right, let's keep moving. How about these games? Let's get Pat.
They're all taken care of, Paul.
Oh, that's great. How about Joan Judd?
Sherry said we had one application so far.
Hey, Paul, if you don't mind, can I back up for 1 second on the referee fees?
Certainly.
I missed. Did we say a date that you guys are looking to possibly install that if you do?
No, it'll be next season.
All right, I appreciate that.
Yeah, it'll be, Drew, when we do this, it'll be at this AGM we have, the annual general meeting in April and May. I just wanted to get that out there early so everybody kicking around and decide, come up with other ideas or solutions or whatever, and then we get some consensus about the numbers.
No, I appreciate it. I'm good with that. I just know we've already done our numbers for the
No. It'll start when the season starts.
Okay.
Yeah, Joan Judd, I mean, we'll get what we get, and, I can't.
Well, if we only get one, they get $5,000.
Let me get my app in.
We get one, they get 500. Yeah, I mean, it's not, maybe the 500 is not significant. Well, okay, that's what we get, that's what we give. And if it's not significant enough to bother filling something out. Now, I said, and I didn't do it, among other things, is I said I would try and look at that and simplify it. So the kids weren't having to get in touch with their third grade teacher to get to really simplify the information that you have to get and give us.
I talked with a mom the other day, and she told me that her son went to Pizza Hut and to Publix and someplace else and got $500 from each of those too.
Very good.
Just by going and asking, they got money. I mean, there's a fund that all those companies have too that you go through. Kids can get, up front. They can get.
The one thing about Joan Judd is what we wanted to not de-emphasize, but have it a little less important with the grades, because this is not an academic scholarship. We really were going to be higher on service, refereeing, using much, coaching kids, whatever. Those will be very highly regarded when you get there, because this is not an academic scholarship, although they do have to prove they're going to go to a higher education institution. So we'll just look at what comes in. I don't know what to say about that.
All right,
bylaw review. So here's what we got to do. You guys, Greg, this is going to be closed just for the moment, the executive committee only. Because there's some legal issues involved that we're discussing. So right now we're going to leave this section. Everybody else will leave, and we'll I'll just tell them what I know right now and where we're at.
Yeah. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Yes, we'll see you next week, and get in touch with Greg or Sherry. You know that
Bye, guys.
they'll respond to you.
If you missed anything, it'll be on the website. All right, let's.
Greg, I'm looking at something on my inbox. It says 2015-16 game cards, 447.
I don't have anything like that. What did you get that for?
I don't know. It says USA Game Reports at gmail.com. My inbox, 43 things. It has game cards 2016-17, 818. I got no idea why it's on. It's just what's appearing in my on my screen next to the executive committee.
Huh. Well, what that is.
All right. Are we clear? Are we just down to a couple of?
All you should have here is what you see. Yourself, Kai, Alan.
All right.
Merritt. I don't know what happened to Brian.
Well, he kind of had to go.
He had someplace to go, I guess.
I don't blame him. All right, listen. We know so far.
Nice guy.
Here's what we know so far, guys, and I'll have this to you. The lawyer is going to put this all in writing. But basically, he reviewed our bylaws. By the way, he said they were pretty amazing for a group. He says, they're very good. He reviewed FYSAs and just told me, because he's a guy that does this, his expertise. Mark's wife, who they are guys that I guess find lawyers for people. So this was the recommendation they had because this is his expertise, and he's pretty good. Good guy. I think he's not charging us full rate, whatever it is. So we're all right. And he had some research done. But he said the FYSA, he said, I've never seen anything, the amount of pages of that thing is just absolutely ridiculous for 501c3. But that being said, there's two parts of our bylaws that hook together with FYSA, and they are, he'll have it in writing, but it's like our number 4, which says we're an FYSA affiliate, that .4, and then the constitutional powers, that's 05, right in the beginning of our thing, which states, the association shall be governed by its constitution, bylaws, and rules and regulations, except when these provisions are superseded by governing authority of USYSA or FYSA. All right. So he said that 4 and 5 in our bylaws means that if, and he pointed out, I'll give you the 2 in FYSA, they have every right to toss you out as an affiliate, member, whatever it is that they've got. One of their bylaws states very clearly they can do that, and the second one is again another bylaw which states that you can be basically dismissed from the organization for not going with their rules. So he said, if you were to bypass a mandate, and that's really what I was asking him. The first thing I was thinking about, the 9s, 10s, 11s, and 12s, which, by the way, is not a mandate. If you read FYSA, it's only right now as far as anybody can do. It's only a guideline. But when it becomes a mandate, he said, if you dismiss that or did something different than that, FYSA would have not only a right, but he said I would say they'd win in court a right to toss your organization out. Because, the biggest thing is I don't want to get in a snit with FYSA where we don't think we're on solid legal footing. So he said there's no doubt about it, in his opinion, that skipping bypassing something or whatever, that are you still there? I lost the vision here. Am I still on, Greg? Can you answer me? All right, so anyway, so he said there's no doubt about it that you cannot, if there is a mandate or there is something specific in FYSA law that given your bylaws, now he said you can change your bylaws He also said that the purpose, O2, in our bylaws was very good. He said it is wide enough to do almost anything. He said it's open enough to do almost anything. He said in 04 you could change it says the association shall be affiliated with the United States Soccer Association, USYSA, through the Florida Youth Soccer Organization. The area represented by USA is located in Region C of FYSA. This association may also affiliate with other soccer associations upon vote of the board of directors. So he said the association can affiliate with other soccer associations upon vote of the board of directors. So we could change the bylaws and say we can affiliate with U.S. club soccer also, right? But he said even that possibly could get you in a stint with FYSA, and you would still, he said if they were aggressive, they could go after you, and it'd be a 50-50. He believes it'd be a toss-up. And he said probably not in your direction as far as their right to, throw you out. What I said, what he basically said is you can't sue them by their bylaws. You cannot sue them or ask for an injunction. In other words, to stop them, say, this enfranchising us and not affiliating us. Until you have undergone in their bylaws, until you have undergone all of the remedies given in the bylaws, there's a series of appeals that you can make before YSA and their bylaws before you can go to court. So basically he said that, if you're going to try and do anything outside the organization's mandates, you're going to have to do it with another organization. This one, in his opinion, unless you really radically change our bylaws, but you're still left with theirs. We're an affiliate. So that's good. It's a pretty clean.
What if we make it simple and say that we through affiliation with FYSA and US Club and the mandates that US Soccer provides?
We can try. I can run that by him. He's not gone. Okay.
Understood. Understood. But our mandates are coming from US Soccer, and that we will abide by them because we all know what FYSA is.
Well, but here it is. Right now, the association is governed, except these provisions are superseded by governing authority of USYSA or the FYSA. So we would have to get rid of that.
Okay.
Which we can do, and put something in 04 in the affiliation that will affiliate with them. We're affiliated with any number of YSA organizations.
USYSSA.
Yes, but what he said, not USYS.
No, the Super Y League is USYSSA.
Yes, but not. But we could go with like club soccer is not USYSA.
No, US Club is not.
It's under US Soccer, which is a FIFA recognized entity to adjudicate everything. So club soccer is recognized, US Club Soccer is recognized as a youth soccer purveyor. Okay?
Yeah.
So you can associate with them. That's how everybody does this US Soccer thing. So we say, hey, we can be club soccer. That would alleviate our need in two ways. One would be if this 9, 10, 11, and 12 mandate came by and US Club did not pick it up, right? US Club said, well, it's your choice.
Well, they got a guy on as a VP on the rules committee for US Soccer. And again, like you just said, he stated that 12 and down garbage is only a suggestion and a guideline.
And on FYSA it also is. There is no mandate in there.
I think Kai beat him up on that already.
Well, it's a clearly, you read FYSA, when they go to the playing rules, you start reading them, and you read, well, this is what we suggest. They don't say it's a mandate that you can't keep score, you can't do this, you can't do that, but they strongly suggest try this format, and we're just not picking up. We're not going to pick up that suggestion. Our problem would come if it's a mandate, because it's a death knell for youth soccer. I think that you don't keep score for the first 4 years you play. You got a uniform.
Crazy.
You go to practice. You're paying money. You're driving 65 miles on a weekend, and you get to a field, and for 4 years you're not going to keep score. I just don't see how. I don't see how anybody can sell that to anybody. I mean, I'm sure there are some people that are that dedicated to a sport, but everybody plays. I think what we're missing here, and one of the horrible things is nowhere in here does it talk about someone enjoying this game and kids enjoying playing, because that's basically what you do. You play, and, every other sport we know for children keeps score. We know that they have a problem with the development of soccer, but they're coming up with the wrong solution. They do have a problem down for us. So until we get to that mandate right now, we don't have an issue, but we do know now that with our present bylaws and FYSO's present bylaws, that we wouldn't be in a position, much of a legal position, to do anything if they wanted to say, well, we're not going to affiliate you guys anymore for this reason. Now, that being said, this guy, now that we have this lawyer, is available now, and he knows the bylaws, FYSA and ours, so he's around all the time to grab. He'll give us a written report. We'll pay him. The only thing left I need to go into more detail with him is this. The other thing we wanted to do was to get these all-star games, to have these all-star games played. And I think we're all pretty sure, and I think his opinion was he wasn't sure, but he was going to give me an answer, that we could make up a team, but we can't sign up a team under FYSA. Okay, we're not a club, therefore we wouldn't register the kids with FYSA as a team in USA, because we're not a club. We're an affiliate member. In U.S. Soccer, however, we can do that, and no problem whatsoever. So we know that if we don't want the USA name, there are other. His suggestion is you get another 501c3, or it doesn't even have to be. And if you need to, then use that one for these outside events. And he thought, and he's going to give us some opinion on it, that, we would be on pretty good legal footing at FYSA. That's not in their constitution anywhere. Because, in FYSA, it also says, fellas, that every member of your club needs to be registered with FYSA. Now, I believe the guys that play a lot of these, the U.S. club type events probably have all their kids signed up for FYSA. A. B, FYSA probably isn't checking every kid, because they wouldn't know who they don't have. Am I correct in assuming that?
Well, they do. I mean, as far as I know, every club register their kids with FYSA, and some clubs then just will register certain teams with U.S. Club Soccer, or as we do, we actually, at my club, we register our kids with both U.S. Club Soccer and FYSA just to protect them.
Right, so you haven't, by their rules, you have not done anything wrong. They do not, they say you just have to be registered with with FYSA. They don't even say you've got to play under a name or anything else. Now, that may come someday. But right now, we can turn all this stuff in a U.S. club very easily. That's more work for our kids and us and everybody else, but it's according to...
Because, I mean, believe me, not every club, but for example, I'll just throw out the reason we register both of our kids, the kids with FYSA and U.S. Club Soccer, because 4 years ago, Strictly Soccer would attend a tournament and register under U.S. Club Soccer and use our players without permission, because they would register our players who are currently
U.S. Club
with us
Soccer doesn't-
with U.S. Club Soccer, and it was not poaching; it was a loophole.
Yeah, right.
So now we register them with both organizations. Now it costs us more money, but it protects our players from
Do
falling.
you register all your teams?
Every single player. Since that happened to us, we are registering, because now
Right.
a club cannot pull that loophole with us, because
Yeah,
we have
yeah.
our players protected on both ends.
Hey,
But it
so
is a loophole. I mean, TBU did it to us when I was at Oldsmar. So it is something that certain clubs use to.
Does U.S. Club have a clearly defined poaching rule?
No, but the thing is that once the player is registered under you, you can't just sign them up again.
Oh,
or
I
use them
got
for
you. I got
guest
you. You'd have
playing.
to release him.
No.
No, you wouldn't have to. There's still a loophole, Kai. You can register them as a secondary to another team without your permission. They don't need your permission to go to a secondary team.
In club soccer.
No, in FYSA. FYSA, you can say, hey, I want to play as a secondary to this team here. The parent says their kid wants to do that. There's nothing you can do about it. Seriously.
I don't know about that.
Yep. I'm telling you.
Well, we should find that out.
What do you think we have all these secondary registered players on game cards? And
we don't allow secondary players.
No, we don't. But it shows up.
In fact,
it shows up on the card, and you're going to find out that they're not registered. They're secondary registered to that team in USA from a club outside of USA. That's what we found when we did.
well, we don't accept it. We don't accept it.
No, we don't. But I'm just saying that there's that loophole still exists where you could have 4 or 5 players on a team secondary registered to a NPL team.
Yeah,
or
but
a
that would be poaching though.
Under
Under FYSA rules, that would be poaching.
No, because the parent signs that release to say that
No,
yes.
no, Greg, you couldn't take one of their kids and put them on without
TBU couldn't just
their permission.
secondary register a player without poaching under FYSA.
Or without the club agreeing to do that.
It doesn't need a club approval.
Well, let's
I don't
try
know
it.
about that. I would.
Paul, I've done it. Paul,
Well,
I've done it. We did
let's
it
try
already.
it. Let's try
We did
it.
it already. We did it when we played the first Liverpool team. I secondary registered everybody to FC Tampa.
No one complained though.
But I did it, and if you didn't know about it, or you couldn't
Yeah, but
complain,
Greg, no one. If you're saying it's okay.
Well, it's
I'm
not okay.
saying it's not okay.
It's not. I'm just saying that you can
just
do
don't
it,
know
but I don't
about
think it's legal.
let's put it this way: I can do it. It's legal. Is it moral? No.
No, but
I don't think it's legal. There's no way,
I
because
think the
there would
point-
be no poaching rule.
well, the point though, this Liverpool thing is the parents and the club knew that they were going to participate in this thing. So the club did not go to FYSA and accuse.
I'll go to Rosemary tomorrow and find out. I'll almost bet the ranch on that one.
No, I don't think it's like we should find that out, but I think that my thinking would be it's not. If someone complained, Greg, FYSA would have to step in and say you're absolutely right. There's no permission here. When you did the Liverpool thing, everybody tacitly, meaning the clubs, agreed that their kid was going
Okay. I understand what you're saying, but there's no place on that form for the other club official to sign. It's only the parent of the kid.
Yeah, but no one
Because
again.
Elda did all of that. Elda did
What's
all
that?
I can go up to Allen's, every kid on all the girls on Allen's under 17 team. Right now, I can go to their house, walk up to their front door, and say, you can play for me, you shouldn't play for him.
Hey, I got an idea. Hey, why don't we go poach some referees from?
Well, we want to buy him, Merritt. We want to buy him.
Yeah, we want to buy him out. Hey,
we want to tell him, if it takes more, tell us what else it takes.
Hey, Kai, Paul and Kai, keep in mind, as we go forward, what we've talked about as far as putting a couple tour teams together and putting ID and showcases together. Okay?
Yeah.
Those kids are going to be playing on basically a composite all-star team.
So they would have. I mean, they would have to go under U.S. Club Soccer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Probably right.
Yes.
Yes.
And there's nothing right now, as far as we know, as far as this lawyer didn't see anything, there's no prohibition in FYSA that a kid cannot play in another league. And so that right now there is no stopping these composite teams from being formed. He said politically, I don't think it's smart because obviously this FYSA is with looking at their bylaws, it's just, insane. He said politically, I think they might try and come after you, but they would, in his opinion, they would not have a leg to stand on legally doing that. And my point was, once you have a lawyer at least available and understanding now our bylaws and FYSA, and he got a decent feel for how this whole thing is working.
I think political for us, I think, would be a good thing because I think it might kickstart something that maybe other leagues might look into. Maybe FYSA will go, uh-oh.
Well, we've got those other 3 leagues. I did contact all of those guys, and I swore 2 weeks ago I would call them in the next 2 weeks, and I haven't. But I did get some. But I got the information back. And Kai, some of that, I would suggest somebody else besides me start talking to these guys because it's the Greater Central Florida, Brevard, and North, the league that's out of Jacksonville in North Florida.
Didn't we not get a vote on the Greater Central Florida League today or tonight?
Well, what happened was basically, Paul, what you missed was Les's explanation of what the GCFL is all about, and they really don't have their act together, and they're just loosey.
That's okay. I'm not. In fact, it's good that they don't operate.
We'll take the forfeits, right?
What we want is a dialogue with them for some of these type of things, like the guy from the North Florida League he got back to me, and all of them got back to me, but they said, hey, there's the dates for these interplays. Some of them want to do it, but they keep saying, I don't know when we're going to be able to because of all of this, because of the way things are falling out date-wise. Well, we can figure that out. But one of them asked about our fees and what people got for the fee. So, I mean, they're the type of things now. I think the referee issue is interesting because when we talked to them this summer, and Merritt can vouch for this, I think, they all thought we had the same issues with referees. None of them felt like shit. We're in Fat City with ours. They all were concerned about it. The interesting thing is FYSA, who took the time to make sure that they looked at every one of these teams that played in the Commissioner's Cup to make sure they had F-licensed coaches. But have not even lifted a finger as far as trying to collectively think about how to stem this, the lack of referees, the amount of guys leaving the profession.
What are their registration fees like?
I don't know. I just asked ours, So I told them 275 and 200.
So basically, what you're saying is, if we have a showcase.
No, well, I think the first thing the guy, as much as Ty's been checking on stuff, he's a guy that can get to a couple of these guys and have conversations with them about some of these other things to say, hey, we get the same issues you guys do. What can we do about it? Because they're the GCF group, right? Greater Central Florida. They, on their website and in talking to them, appear to have a lot of teams in the league.
Right.
Now, the league may not operate well. I don't think anyone's going to operate as well as ours. I don't think.
No, that Central Florida League, because I followed one of our senior team that left from the senior thing. They only play 8 games. He never played a home game. His home games was in St. Cloud.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He had games in Port Orange, Ormond Beach. I mean, it's psychotic how they do their league. It's yeah.
Yeah, but don't you think that's good, Alan? I mean,
we should merge. Take
all
them
the problems that we have, ourselves with people bitching about, playing but we're enforcing play. We're enforcing people.
Oh, we're organized. We're organized.
But these guys still is a value to them in some way or another, because we're not. All of these things we're talking about with FYSA, I'll guarantee, except for the guy from Brevard who said, I know a lot of the guys, and so I know